Good day, everyone. In this video, we will see what is BMP5, that is best management practices. And the best management practices are to deter piracy attacks in the Red Sea, Gulf of Aden, Indian Ocean, and the Arabian Sea. So this is a book, basically. Best Management Practices 5 is a book, or it is a set of guidelines which is given to the ships which are transiting in the areas in the Red Sea, Gulf of Aden, Indian Ocean, and Arabian Sea. After 2008, there have been many piracy attacks which are reported on merchant ships. Many ships were hijacked, crew were hijacked for ransom, and they were kept in captivity for days, and sometimes for months, and sometimes for years also. So this is that area basically where these guidelines are given. This is the Red Sea, this is the Gulf of Aden, this is the Arabian Sea, and the Gulf of Oman. Okay, for this area, these guidelines are there. So if you see this area in the orange color, yellowish orange color, this is the area when you are transiting here, you should refer to this book and follow the guidelines what are given there. Now, many students have a doubt that what is a citadel. First, we'll start with that. So a citadel is basically a safe house on board the ship. Okay. This safe house is made in such a way that it can be locked from inside. It is also bulletproof because the doors and everything are made up of iron and steel. So if the pirates come on board the ship, then everybody goes into the citadel, locks the doors from inside, and they hide inside. Food and water rations are kept there for about, let's say, 5 days. Depending upon the weather, it can be kept for about 7 days also. And also communication equipment is kept there so that the ships can communicate with the other ships in the surrounding, the naval warships in the surrounding, and the UKMTO and the MSCHOA. What are these? This we will see in this video. And they can also contact with their company office. So a satellite phone is also kept there. A VHF is kept there. These are the equipments kept there. Sometimes a GPS is also kept there. Sometimes the citadel is made in such a location from where the steering of the ship can be controlled. Or what normally the crew does is they go in the citadel, they make a blackout on the ship. So the ship cannot be controlled and the steering of the ship cannot be controlled by anybody. The pirates stay on the ship for about some time, and then when they don't find the crew, many a times they leave the ship. If the military operations takes place, that will only take place when all the crew members are inside the citadel. Now, one thing has to be clear that all the crew members, each and every member of the crew has to be inside the citadel for the operation to take place or for it to be successful. Even if one crew member is left outside, it won't be successful. Okay, so we will see what is this best management practices 5. Now, I hope everybody has understood what is citadel. Okay, so this is BMP5, best management practices to deter piracy and enhance maritime security in the Red Sea, Gulf of Aden, Indian Ocean, and Arabian Sea. The contents of this booklet are that section 1 is introduction, section 2 is the threat, section 3 is threat and risk assessment, section 4 is planning, section 5 is ship protection measures, section 6 is reporting, section 7 is ships under attack, action to be taken by the ships under attack. Then there are annexes to it, which gives, Annex A gives the contact details, Annex B gives maritime security charts, Annex C gives common understanding, Annex D gives UKMTO reporting forms, Annex C gives Maritime Security Center Horn of Africa, MSCHOA reporting forms, Annex F gives additional guidelines for vessels engaged in fishing, Annex G gives additional advice for leisure crafts, including yachts, Annex H gives definitions and abbreviations, Annex I gives supporting organizations, and Annex J gives voyage reference chart, voyage reference card. Now, what are the fundamental requirements of best management practice 5? First is understanding the threat, that what are the maritime threats and that the maritime threats are dynamic, they keep on changing. Obtaining current threat information is critical for risk assessment and decision making. Conduct and risk assessments. Implement ship protection measures. That means we put razor wire around the ship. We close all the doors, accesses to the ship. From wherever the pirates can board the ship, the doors are closed. The fire hoses are rigged. Dummies are placed. Sometimes small electric current is also passed through the electric fencing around the ship. And so these are the actions which are taken to deter the pirates from boarding the ship. So we have to harden the ship, brief and train the crew, enhance lookout, more lookouts are being posted, follow flag state and military guidance, and report to the UKMTO and register with MSCHOA, report incidents and suspicious activity, send a distress signal when attacked. So these are the reportings which we have to carry out. Cooperate with other shipping and military forces, cooperate with law enforcement to preserve evidence, and cooperate with welfare providers. So these are the actions we have to carry out. Okay. Now the first section is the introduction, that it gives why this best management practices 5 came into force, why we need this, what are the current security threats in the area. This is given in the section 1. Now we have to report one, we have to remember one thing, that nothing in the best management practices detracts from the master's overriding authority and responsibility to protect their cruise ship and cargo. That is, the master can deviate from the best management practices, what is given here. He has the overriding authority and he can take the best action to protect the cruise ship and the cargo. Now UKMTO stands for United Kingdom Maritime Trade Operations, www.ukmto.org, and MSCHOA stands for Maritime Security Center, Horn of Africa, that is www.mschoa.org. Though these websites should be consulted for advice also. Annex 1 contains the details, contact details for these two organizations. These organizations track the ships which are passing through this high-risk areas. When we carry out the reporting to them, they can track the ships. If you don't carry out the reporting, they won't be able to track. Then it gives the geographical area. Basically, the geographical area is from the Straits of Hormuz, the Gulf of Oman, the Arabian Sea, the Red Sea, and the Gulf of Aden. Then the voluntary reporting area, as per UKMTO, there is a chart Q6099. This chart has to be referred to so that we can report it through the reporting areas. The boundaries of the reporting areas are given. All the ships need to have this chart on board the ship when they're transiting this area. MSCHOA registration should be carried out when we are passing through this area. So MSCHOA vessel registration area is designed to inform military and counter piracy forces of the transit of merchant ships in the Indian Ocean and the Gulf of Aden. The MSCHOA vessel registration area is defined on the Maritime Security Chart Q6099. So we are to make sure that we have this chart when we are transiting this area. Then it gives the high risk area. The Maritime Security Chart Q6099 also gives the limits of the high risk area. There is a maritime security transit corridor. It is not a TSS, it is just a transit corridor, which is normally guarded, and sometimes patrolling by the naval military vessels is carried out. When we transit this area, this is the area where maximum number of attacks have happened in the past. So when we are transiting this area, we should transit through this corridor so that we have a military vessel close by at all times. Sometimes vessels also transit in group transits there so that each other can help. Okay, each one of them can help each other in case there is a piracy attack. Now this is the Maritime Security Transit Corridor. Starts from the Babal Mandap area here, and it passes through the Gulf of Aden. This is the route which should normally be taken by all the merchant ships. Then threat, as well as piracy, regional instability has introduced new security threats, including the use of anti-ship missiles, sea mines, waterborne improvised explosive devices, because in this area there is political instability also. Anyways, we cannot help with the political instability, but piracy, yes. What is piracy? So pirates operate in pirate action groups who operate several different boat configurations, typically using small, high speed up to 25 knots open boats or skiffs. Pilot action group boat configurations include skiffs only, open whalers carrying significant quantities of fuel and often towing one or more attack skiffs, motherships, which include merchant ships and fishing vessels, but most commonly doves. So they have the skiffs, which are high speed boats, can go up to 25 to 30 knots, sometimes maybe up to 40 knots also. Merchant ships, the average speed is about 14-15 knots only, so they can easily approach these bigger merchant ships and can attack them, can board them. So we have to be very careful of these skiffs when we are passing into these areas. These pirates also have highly automated weapons, and we should be very careful when extra lookouts have to be posted in this area, and whenever some skiffs is sighted, immediately action has to be taken by the ships, hardening measures has to be taken, and alarm has to be raised, and if there are military vessels in the surrounding, they should be informed about their presence. Right now, not right now, since the last couple of years, the number of attacks have reduced because of the action of the military vessels. Okay, threat and risk assessment. A risk assessment shall be carried out before the vessel transits into these areas. All the risk has to be calculated and corrective action has to be taken. So threat assessment must include all regional security threats as part of every ship risk assessment. Prior to transit through the HRA, the latest military threat advice must be obtained from UKMTO, www.ukmto.org, and threat assessments from the MSCHOA, www.mschoa.org. A threat is formed of capability, intent, and opportunity. So, capability means attackers have the physical means to conduct an attack. Intent is demonstrated by continued attacks, and opportunity is what is mitigated by the company, ship, and crew through application of measures described in this guidance. Risk assessment should be carried out. Previous reports of previous attacks and the previous attack position should be taken up before passing to this area. The risk assessment must consider but may not be limited to requirements of flag state, company, charters, and insurers. The threat assessment and geographical area of increased risk. Background factors shaping the situation, example, traffic patterns and local patterns of life, including fishing vessel activity. Cooperation with military and understanding of the present should be obtained from UKMTO. The embarkation of privately contracted armed security personnel. The ship's characteristics, vulnerabilities, and inherent capabilities, including citadel and or safe muster point to withstand the threat, that is freeboard, speed, general arrangement, etc. The ships and companies' procedures, drills, watch rosters, chain of command, decision-making process, etc. All voyages in this region require thorough advanced planning using all available information. The maritime threats are dynamic, and it is therefore essential that a detailed threat and risk assessment is completed for each voyage and activity within the region. And the planning takes place at the company level, at the ship level also. Information security information is provided from all parties to the ship and from the ship to all parties. Then the ship's master's planning. Now security is key part of any voyage plan. Certain actions has to be taken prior to entering the voluntary reporting area, then prior to entering the high risk area. Briefing the crew and conduct drills. So drills have to be conducted so all the crew is aware of the actions to be taken, like how to get into the citadel, how to muster, where to muster, and how to keep the lookouts and everything. Other considerations, that emergency communication is planned, what is to be done with the AIS that is planned, that planned maintenance on the voyage on critical equipment is rescheduled prior to the transit of an HRA, then actions to be taken on entering the HRA, then ship protection measures. What are the protection measures the ship is going to take? For example, if this is the list, this is the vessel, the primary layer of defense will be good lookout, vigilance, razor wire, maneuvering, speed and freeboard. Then secondary layer of defense will be door hardening, gate, motion sensors, CCTV is placed. Last layer of defense will be internal door hardening, citadel, safe muster point and communication. Watch keeping and enhanced lookout and enhanced vigilance. So an effective lookout is the most effective method of ship protection. It can help identify a suspicious approach or attack early on, which allows defenses to be deployed. So if we can, there have been these attacks in the past where the crew realized the boarding of the pirates only when the pirates entered the wheel of the ship. We should not be caught unaware. Proper lookout has to be kept in these areas so that we can activate our defenses in time. Maneuvering, the ship can be maneuvered in a zigzag maneuver to deter the pirates, so as to make it difficult for them to board the ship. So avoidance maneuver should only be practiced when it is safe to do so. These maneuvers can be practiced by masters and navigating officers of the ship when they are in open sea, whether out of the HRA, there is no risk of any pirate attack or anything, where there's no traffic and all. And so that the maneuvering can be done during the pirate attack. Alarms should be working and crew should be knowing how to use these alarms. And this is how the razor wire is placed around the ship so that the pirates are not able to board the ship. Physical barriers, such as, see how this razor wire is put here. So it makes difficult for the pirates to board on the ship side. This is how the razor wire is put around. Okay. Other physical barriers are the presence of water curtain. Let's see how the water is flowing from the ship. When the water flows from the ship, what happens is, if the boat comes alongside, the boat will be filled up with water and it will make it difficult for the pirates to come alongside the ship. So ship's fire hoses and foam monitors can be used for this purpose. Enhanced bridge protection. Additional protection is put around the windows of the bridge, the doors of the bridge, so nobody can enter into the door of the bridge. Control of access to accommodation and machinery areas. Additional netting is put. Additional doors are put so that nobody can enter. You see this door inside the accommodation, how it is locked, so it makes it very difficult for the pirates to enter inside the accommodation. Skylights and small hatches are closed from inside with the help of wires. Wire lashing is taken. And see how this hardening measures have taken place. Razor wire has been put in place, doors have been put in place, razor wire has been put in place, nets have been put in place. Then safe muster points or citadels. We have already talked about the citadel. So this is the inside of a citadel. Additional door has been put here inside. Then additional communication equipment has been kept there. VHF, satellite phone. So the master should decide when to use the citadel. It depends upon the master. When he tells us, when he gives the order or an alarm is raised or a code word is used, everybody should proceed to the citadel. This is the CCTV cameras which are put, and from inside the citadel, the CCTV cameras can be monitored. So these are the things which are given in this best management practices 5. Reporting has to be carried out for the UKMTO. UKMTO acts as the primary point of contact for merchant ships and their company security officers, providing liaison with military forces in the region. UKMTO administers the voluntary reporting scheme, under which merchant ships are encouraged to send regular reports. These include initial reports on entering the vessel voluntary reporting area, Daily report update on ship's position, codes and speed. Final reports upon departure from the voluntary reporting area on arrival in a port, and reports of suspicious irregular activity when necessary. So this reporting should be carried out through the UKMTO because they are monitoring all the ships. If in between, if you are not able to send the report, then they will definitely come back asking you, why did you report it? Okay. The ships and their operators should complete both UKMTO vessel position reporting forms and register with MSCHOA. MSCHOA. The MSCHOA is the Planning and Coordination Center for European Union Naval Forces. MSCHOA encourages company to register their ship movements before entering the HRA, and if participating in the group transit system via their website www.mschoa.org. When departing the voluntary reporting area, ships should be aware of adjacent regional reporting requirements. Okay, you should have these charts Q6010 and chart Q6010, 6012, so that you know what are the reporting areas. Okay. Reporting of the suspicious activity should be carried out to UKMTO. Ships under attack. Now, this section gives the actions to be taken by the ships which are under attack. So in the event of a suspicious approach, or if in any doubt, you should call UKMTO without delay, so they can coordinate the operation of the military ships which are there in the vicinity. What you have to do in the approach stage, what you have to do in the attack stage, and action on illegal boarding. All these actions are given here in BMP 5. If I start telling you each and every line, then it is going to be a very big video. So that is what we don't want. So it is just a briefing of the video. And if the control of the ship is lost, then what you are supposed to do? You should be patient. You should keep mentally active, occupied. You should keep track of time. Do reduce stress where possible by remaining physically active. Do remain calm and retain dignity. Be positive. Remember, authorities are working tirelessly to release you. Do remember to leave any CCTV or audio recording devices running, and do exactly what the attackers ask and comply with their instructions. And what you should not do not take photographs. Do not attempt to engage attackers. Do not make movements which can be misinterpreted as being aggressive. Do not be confrontational, and do not resist. This you should not do. Then what is to be done in case of a hijack or a hostage situation, and in the event of a military intervention? Attack from other threats, anti-ship missiles, sea mines, WBIED attack, and post-incident action and reporting. The collection and protection of evidence is critical, so you should protect the evidence, whatever is there, and thorough investigation using all available evidence is critical. Seafarers should always be treated with respect and as a victims of crime. Okay. So this is basically the information what we get here in the BMP 5. All of us, we should read this BMP 5 when we are transiting these areas. Annex A gives the contact details. So it gives the contact details of UKMTO, United Kingdom Maritime Trade Operations. It gives the contact details of Maritime Security Center, Horn of Africa, US Naval Cooperation and Guidance for Shipping, useful contacts such as International Maritime Bureau, IMB, Interpol. Okay, these are the useful contact details which are being given. These are the maritime security charts. For Mediterranean, it is Q6110. For Gulf of Oman, it is Q6111. For Arabian Sea, Gulf of Aden and Red Sea, it is Q6099. And for Singapore Straits, Malaysia, Indonesia, Bay of Bengal, Indian Ocean, it is Q6112. So all ships, when they are transiting in these areas, should have these charts on board the ship. These are the UKMT reporting forms. that is the initial position reporting form. Initial report is here. Then this is the daily report, and this is the final report. And this is in case of any suspicious or irregular activity report. So these reporting forms are given here. Follow-up report to UKMTO and MSCHO is given here. And this is MSCHO reporting forms. That initial MSCHO registration should be carried out using this format, and movement and details. Now we have to remember one thing, gentlemen. Okay, this is follow-up report to MSCHO and UKMTO, incident report, vessel particular details. This we have to remember this thing, that this BMP5 is present on board every ship, with whichever ship is transiting into these areas. So we should make sure that we read this BMP5. BMP is best management practices, and 5 is revision number 5. And we should also make sure that all the crew on board our ship reads this, so we all of us we are aware of the procedures to be followed when we are transiting these areas. Okay, so this is incident reporting part 3, status and support requests. So these are the various reporting forms basically which are given at the end of the BMP5. And additional guidance for vessels engaged in fishing. So I hope most of us will be going on cargo ships, so we'll just skip this part. Okay, so this is about best management practices 5. I hope everybody has understood it, that what all the contents of this best management practices 5 are and what all we have to understand. I thank you for watching this video, and I hope this video will feel useful to you. In case if you have any questions or any doubts which you think I might be able to help you out with, you can post it in the comment box. If you find it useful, please do share it with your friends, and also please subscribe this channel. Thank you for watching the video. Thanks again.